This old deck we're going to be putting in trex, just showing you guys how to do it. And to tell you, the first thing to do is get off your butt and go do it, right?
Know it.
All right, so we're ripping this deck out. We use Restore from Home Depot. It's a paint. If you're about to use it, don't. It starts molding and peeling. This is after 2 years, so we're going to rip this out. We're going to put trex in, and I'm going to show you the progress as it goes on. And just showing you guys how to rip this out. It really helps when I'm on that other end and pulling up on that board to give them some leverage. Got a bunch of screws in there that don't want to come out. All right, so let's see what happens. All the boards removed. I got my chop saw on the deck, easier to work with. I've rewrapped the deck. I'll go down there and show you guys that real quick, what's going on over there. Reason being that I rewrapped the deck with these 2 by 8-inch boards is because these old posts, we're gonna use them still, but they were sitting on the outside of the deck. This was the old outside of the deck. The new one is going further out. I hope I can explain this to you guys, what's going on. When I go to lay my planks that are gonna sit this way on the deck, I don't wanna stop here where my middle fingertip is. I don't wanna stop right here and have these posts overhang, because when I go to put, I'm going to rewrap these with like a 8 by 8, and they're going to go over these, and these are just going to be support. You're not going to see this anymore. But reason being is these would have overhang, and I would have had an issue trying to box those in, and the look it would have gave on the outside. So now I've rewrapped it with this right here. So now all my deck boards are going to come in over here. And what it's going to look like now is that the posts are sitting on the deck instead of overhanging on the edge. So I got everything removed here and prepped over here. When I go to put my boards in, I'm going to put 4 layers of these, and you'll see it as it progresses. There's going to be 4 strips going this way, and everyone's being cut at 22.5 because we have an octagon shaped deck. So at 22.5, I'm putting in braces over here so they have something to sit on. As you can see, I did it over there, and I put the braces in, and I'm just going along as I go. And this one right here is complete, where I've put, because the beams are going to go this way, there's going to be 4 stripes of a dark color, and on the inside it's going to be a lighter color. So it's going to wrap around, and the other boards on the center are going to run this way, which they'll have support with all these beams. So you got to think about when you're building a deck, you need to have the support underneath. So that's why that board is right there, because the other one is going to sit. This board is lopsided, so this one's where I need it to be, the old one, but on the side it's not. So I made sure that when I go to lay this, I'm not going to have to go and prep this again. It's already prepped, so that's why that's wrapped on the outside. I'll go down there and show you guys what it looks around. And that's all new, and the posts are going to sit on the deck like I was explaining to you guys. And I've cut them in at 22.5, so it looks real nice on the edge. Also, if you're trying to do something like this and you have an octagon, you're going to want to put screws on the edge. Don't forget, because you don't want these boards warping later and showing that gap right there. The tile, dry laying means that you lay them all down without screwing them in. That's why you see all the screws heads still sticking up. I've inserted my spacers in every single board to see where it would fall at. So then when I got to the end, that's why I added this. It came out perfect, being that I rewrapped my deck and put my deck post to look like it was sitting on the deck instead of on the outside as they had it before. And this is not going to be my deck post. I'm going to rewrap it and make it look beautiful in the end. But over here, I showed you how I dry laid them, and you account for the space and come this way. You see how that one doesn't look perfect? But this side is perfect over here. So what I'll do is just steel about maybe, I think it's a 1/4 inch. So I have to just move every one of these here to bring this one out where I want it. And that's when I'll start screwing in. So everything came out good. Got all my cuts over here. It's not exactly 22.5. It's a little tricky to capture the shape. You actually have to overlay one of these pieces onto it and then see where you need to cut it at. You can't just go by 22.5 because the octagon that's made here is not exact. So to capture the exact shape, I'll try to show you guys real quick what you do. I laid all my straight pieces this way. So then I overlay one of these. This is really tricky so people can understand it. So what I did was I laid all my pieces, the 4 pieces that were going to be straight, and go off of this edge. You don't go off any markings on the wall or anything like that. You go off of that edge, which means I would lay one piece here, put the spacer in, lay this piece here, and you could see what happens when I overlay it and how I captured the corner right here. That's where I would cut it right here, where this joint meets this one and where the other board meets that one, and that's how you capture the center.
I'm gonna go higher than Google. Ava, let's see who can go the highest. Okay, Google, I want to show you something. Can you do it? See what?
All right, getting all the railings are all up, and kids wanted the fire pit on here, so I put that on here with the sofas. I inserted all the LED lights in each one of the posts. We're gonna maybe put some kind of on-off switch over here, wired and electrical, and that way the transformer for the LED lights will be like inside of here. So I could just hit the switch on and it'll turn on all the LED lights. Also, we're putting in these whatever you want to call them, railings. The railing is probably just as difficult as putting in the entire deck because it's really time consuming, and that's why they charge you like $90 to $100 for some plastic stuff like that for each section. So if you want to build these yourself, you can. You don't have to. It's a lot quicker but more expensive to do it the other way, but you could also custom your own stuff like the way I'm doing it right now. We're probably going to put some caps on each one of these. We're definitely going to put some caps on. And just showing you guys, you just put the 2x4 over it, take a marker and mark the 2x4 under it. That way you can get that cut. And if you have a sliding miter saw, really, really handy. Much more accurate than just a little skill saw. But that's what I'm doing right now, and just sinking my screws in, and we'll have these in, and they are solid. I've already put in about 3 screws in here into the 2x4. That way this doesn't move. Also use a leveling bar. If you're a beginner and you're not sure how to get these leveled, use a leveling bar, put it up against it, and you can see what I did. I marked one line here, and then when I had it leveled, I marked where I needed to stay, and then I sunk my screws in. That way every single post that I put on this thing is leveled and they don't move. It's pretty solid. And now I'm putting in the support beams where people can rest their beer, like that right there. Just kidding. But where you can rest your arms and stuff like that. So moving along and getting this all put up. Also, do not paint your wood. Do not use pine. You're gonna want to use treated. Deck is almost done. We just got to put the caps on. We already got the railings all on there. Fire pits on there. Just kidding. But it is on there. But I had to retake off this entire railing because my 4x4s, I didn't realize it, were leveled like up and down, but not leveled this way. So if you would have looked at it right now, this one's not mounted. These are not mounted yet, but right now this is perfectly leveled. Each one of these has to be leveled. I'm going to show you guys. See how you got a 4x4 in here? The only reason I'm putting this in there, because if you guys are copying what I'm doing, I want to make sure you get it done right. Look inside of there. What I've done, maybe you can't see that one good. Let me come down over here. I've sliced that 4x4 because the 4x4 was leaning to the right when it was mounted. so it wasn't perfectly flush. But by slicing that and having this leveled, you could see, where's that big, oh, there it is. I had to actually slice all 4 of them because they were all leaning outwards. But if I stand back, you'll see what I'm talking about. And I used a leveling bar going up and down up against it to make sure that it was perfectly leveled. So right now all the posts inside of there, the support beams, are leveled, but they're sliced in half. You can't see what's going on the inside, but just make sure that what's on the outside looks really nice. So I'll show you guys a side view real quick. So every one of them is leveled. So I had to go back in there and remove this entire railing system section, which only took about an hour, and then I had to slice a chunk of these. I'll show you guys. See how it's thicker on one end? This was the top part, and that is the bottom part. All I did is lay my level up against the 4x4 when it was removed, and I marked it. And then I took my circular saw on each side, this side and that side, and I was able to gouge out the piece needed to make it level. I throw this in there that people are going to ask, what did it cost you to do the deck? It was about $5,000 to $6,000 for this deck. It's about a 24 by maybe 14 or 15, I think it was, but that's what it costs to do it. If you were to hire somebody and pay them, you'd probably be looking at 20 grand or so. Over here in the garage making the caps for the posts. And just a quick tip for you guys, I took a piece of paper as a template, and on my 7 1/4 board that I had, that was a long piece of board, you see how this fits perfectly? I laid it just like that, and I knew it was a perfect square, so I marked it, and I took into account the width of the chop saw blade, so you don't want to be off on that. If you're worried about it, cut one at a time. I got it over here on my router. You see what I'm doing is giving it a nice edge to have it a nicer look with a router. That's the type of bit I'm using to do that. And just to show you guys the finished product here, this is my front deck that I did 2 years ago, and this is the look that I'm gonna have, so I want it to match the house. That's in place. All I got left to do is stain this deck, and I'll call it done.
So I'm going to let the sun dry out all the wood, and I'll stain it in the beginning of next year. Hopefully this video helps you out and inspires you to redo your deck. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up.